order at 6 p.m., May 15th, Oconee County Council. We will start, as usual, with our public comment session. Signed up today are only two. Mr. Tony Adams, you're up first.
I'm Tony Adams, and I'm speaking as a concerned individual citizen of Oconee County. I speak for myself and nobody else. The first subject I want to talk about, Council, is an industrial development project by the name of Project Omega. When this project came up a few months ago, nothing seemed amiss at first, but as details became public, there seemed to be a bad smell developing around this project. The council rightly rejected an $800,000 outlay of Oconee public funds into this project that was over and above a standard package of incentives for a project like this. Now, seeing the state grant for $800,000 has been proposed to council for approval. It's my personal opinion that the state grant also needs to be rejected because it's public money also. If this project is approved, it sets a precedent I don't believe our county or state could live up to. For example, we have a good mix of small to mid-sized businesses in Oconee County. And what if one of these businesses asks for equal treatment and want their present facility to be purchased by the county or state so they can relocate to one of our industrial parks? It could get expensive, but everybody should be treated equally. The next subject I just want to touch on briefly is school security. That's important. The safety of our children is paramount, but it's a hot button issue, very important issue. I believe there's more cost effective and effective ways to do it than a school resource officer in every school. That's a good, I mean, I'm not against that. If that's what the Oconee County wants, that's fine, because that's what we're going to have to pay for. It's part of the things on this year's budget to be included in next year's budget. But I don't think that we need anything around there on throat, like the broadband. Simply because I don't know if the citizens, especially the parents of Oconee County, Mr. Hamby, you may know, they've been surveyed on their opinion about school safety and what their preference would be on how to implement it. Huh?
Not all of them.
They pay taxes just like I do. Like I said, I'm not against school resource officers. But I think a team of trained personnel on the company side, on school side, not one individual, properly trained, would be much more effective. They could deploy quicker. They could handle the situation quicker. Nobody's talked about non-lethal weapons like shotguns with non-lethal ammunition. People need to think outside the box a little bit. Don't get tunnel vision. Try to do it the cheapest, best way you can. Now, if that comes out to be school resource officers, so be it. But we need to look at the effectiveness and the cost of each option and what the taxpayers of Oconee County are going to pay for. And I think the school resource officers is probably the most expensive. I think it's some alternatives. Like I said, it needs to be done quickly, and it's been drug out a while. Sheriff Crenshaw. Okay, Sheriff Crenshaw recommended that. It was shot down. I have to wonder if it's shot down by people that think they know better than what the people of Oconee County want. So that's the two things I've got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Terry Swain.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Terry Swain, and I represent Fair Oak Youth Center. I know most of the council members have received this letter. Mr. Root received it. Phil Shirley sent a response to it, but I just want to clarify a few things. If you look in the second paragraph where I have it start, it says that we recognize that why this letter was sent, and SCAP does not dictate nor set boundary lines, but they also refer it back to the parks and provide public recreation providers. And then the next sentence says, it is the role of city and county councils to determine where and how these services are provided. Now, if you look at the next page, the FYI from Phil Shirley, he said that SCAP is confirming that the boundary line issue is the responsibility of the local parks and recreation providers. But over on the second paragraph on the first page, it also includes the city and county councils. Now, my thought on this is the city does control the boundaries within the city. The county controls the boundaries within the unincorporated areas of the county. You have already given Fair Oak Elementary boundaries. We need to get this issue resolved as a recreation department. If you look on the last page, I asked and received an Oconee County Recreation District. If you will look, you will see that Westminster has just about the entire area of our county. Fair Oak is not even listed. You also notice down in the bottom, this blue area, Anderson County, Townville, has claimed boundaries in Oconee County, which as a council is unacceptable. Anderson County should not claim boundaries in Oconee County. We should have those ourselves. All we're asking is this be resolved. The only way to do it is to get everybody together, not in secret, not behind closed doors, and discuss it. And Mr. Kane, I'm all for that. I'm not against that at all. I never have been. I'm an advocate for kids. Our kids do not deserve to drive 15 to 20 minutes to another recreation center just to play ball when we have the facility right there in our area. And that's all I'm fighting for. That's it. It's just that simple. And it could be resolved tomorrow. If we could sit down, we put all the egos aside, and we decide what's best for these kids. And I'll be honest with you. There is not very many kids from our area that's going to go to Westminster and play ball. And very few kids from Westminster are going to come to Fair Oak to play ball. The parents can't afford the trip from Westminster to Fair Oak. They can't afford it. Not 3 practices a week. They can't afford the transportation. Townville's the same way. And I am all for it. I do not care about boundaries, but what came up in the rec task force is SCAP decided that if we didn't have boundaries, we were not going to be allowed to play. And that is the only reason I am fighting for these boundaries for our children. And I'll be glad to talk to anybody about this. And I will continue. Mr. Davis, I will continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were the only two public comments. Any council member comments? I would like to welcome Mr. Rick Martin to his, I was going to say to his first council meeting, but that's not quite accurate, to his first council meeting as the interim administrator. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we had one more that was received in an email. Thank you for reminding me. I do want to read this into the record. This was received from Miss Nanette Alexander. Almost 30 years ago, I was fired for insubordination from the job I had had for 15 and a half years as a tax mapper for Oconee County Tax Assessor's Office. Mainly, the insubordination was based on my insistence on taking the time required to get each and every parcel correctly mapped according to deeds and plats being passed through the clerk of court office and the probate judge office. I have felt all the time since then that I was unjustly fired because I did in my job, because I was correcting as many such deviations as possible from what are supposed to happen according to law when properties are passed on. One thing that is supposed to happen is no plat is supposed to be changed in line lengths or angles from the previous or derivative plat of the same property. The reason I am feeling I need to point out this particular deviation example now is because I have been recently hit by a neighbor's newer plat that has deviated badly in 1995 from its derivative plat in a hidden way within the county offices. It is giving this recent new owner reason to seize about 11 degrees off the grandfather road edge of my property and have this big gate installed in front of it at a local county road, preventing my entry on my grandfathered road. Though it was shared, I had been using road for farming purposes and for use as ready access road to the adjoining U.S. forestry lands in case of forest fire breakouts. Not only that, other lines of this same delinquent plat either overbears or deviates quite a bit from the lines of a neighbor's property plat on the other side. It seems that at least since my departure from my county job, the county has failed to fully use enough checks and balances to prevent such deviations such as this one within the clerk of court office, probate judge office, and tax assessor's office of Oconee County. I appeal to the county to get my concerns corrected for me without further expense on my part. Simply, the county can require that the latest but delinquent warranty deed be voided because of its delinquent plat and be replaced with deeds having the proper derivative plat. Also, county can require that this delinquent existing gate be taken down. I or my family have spent $500 already on a lawyer inquiry, but I can ill afford any more expense. Should it be county's responsibility to protect tax properties from damaging deviations such as this one with checks and balances within these county offices? And if county has failed to have proper checks and balances as needed for property owners, then the county should certainly make non-monetary remedies like I have just suggested for my case. Sovereign owners of properties in the USA need protection from onslaughts like this one from within government. Most landowners can ill afford excessive lawyer surveying fees. Please respond to me of your opinion by reasonable time of a month at least. I am willing to answer questions truthfully. Thank you. And this was from Nanette Alexander. And I'm going to pass this on to Mr. Root to take a look at. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Root. Okay. Any council member comments?
Yes, ma'am. I want to thank Mr. Martin, Mr. Liddell Price for being here. They're really fill the void in. You know, they're doing a great job, very professional, and we didn't even miss a beat. And I want to thank both of you for being here.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to welcome y'all as well, and thankful to the other staff, Amanda and David and Katie, for all y'all are doing too, to help out during this interim time very much.
Anybody else?
I agree. I think y'all doing an excellent job. We know it ain't easy to pop into a new role, but thank you for rolling with the punches, and I know y'all do a great job.
Okay. If no other comments, please join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. Mr. Root, please.
Please pray with me if you might. Father, thank you for this day that you have made. Help us not to take it for granted, but to be truly all your good gifts. Children who are here, the work that they put in, young adults, the work that they put in on these projects, I pray that they be blessed during this time. By their work, being able to enjoy the fruit of their labor. Pray that our labor tonight will produce good fruit. Peace and love. You shed light, and we need that light. Wisdom and light to shine, to make things clear during this meeting. Operate, compromise as need be. Understand the urgency of the union and appreciate that. And work together for the good of this county.
Thank you. Mr. Kane, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
We prefer when our students lead us.
Oh, sure. We'll have our students come up and lead us in the pledge instead of Mr. Kane tonight. Come on right up Front, right up here. I know you know the words. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now wave
you.
to all your friends on the camera.
We have two sets of minutes we need to approve. First is the regular minutes from our May 1st council meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any corrections? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Next is our special meeting from May 8th.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any corrections, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Martin, your report?
All right, first I'd like to say I thank each one of you for the confidence and the support you put into me and my staff. We really do appreciate it, and we're just glad to be here. One of you said, I think Mr. James, maybe this ship will keep right on sailing and we won't miss a beat. The report tonight is we have one presentation by Mr. Rex Blanton, Chairman of the Ag Advisory Board. And as we already know, we have some special guests here with us tonight in celebration of the 150th anniversary. Tonight we will announce the winners of the Centennial Committee Arts and Essay Contest. And we'd like to thank each one that participated in this, and especially the parents who have brought these kids and these young kids here tonight. We welcome you here, and we appreciate you and everything that you do. A proclamation, 2018-03, proclamates National Safe Boating Week. And of course, it's just in time because the temperature is perfect for us to get out on the lakes. Ordinances, we have a public hearing and a third reading and a final reading on ordinance 2018-12, which encompasses the Casco development and Lakeside Lodge project. We also have first reading in title only for ordinances 2018-01, 2018-02, 2018-03. These are the ordinance approving the county fiscal year 2019 budget for the Oconee County, and the fiscal year 2019 school district of Oconee County budget, and approval of the Kiwi Fire Special Tax District tax levy for the fiscal year 2019. And as a note for that, we also have a budget, finance, and administrative committee meeting next Tuesday, May the 22nd at 5:30. We have 3 action items tonight on the agenda. The first one being the approval of the work authorization number 1 for the potential purchase of land adjacent to the airport. This parcel is near the runway approach, and the owner is willing to work with W.K. Dixon Company to help complete this purchase. This purchase has been recommended and approved by the FAA and the SC Aeronautics Commission. It has also been approved in the capital improvement plan for the airport, and these grants are reimbursable. The FAA will reimburse 90%. State Aeronautics will reimburse 5%, and that leaves the county responsible for the rest of that 5%. The second action item is the approval of the local and state aid tax funding allocations as recommended by the PRT Commission. And these requests are the SC Sports Alliance for membership, recruiting, and travel show, short-term rental compliance software, the Patriots Hill General Store and Museum for the Cherokee docent program, safety signage for Palmetto Trail, and the funding for the Visit Oconee SC, which is the CVB. And the final action is for council to approve the ITB 1710 to Waybate Holdings DBA Signs, ETC, Charlotte, North Carolina, for the design and signage to identify and locate key destinations and cultural assets here in Oconee County. We do have a couple of committee reports, one from Mr. Wayne McCall on the Law Enforcement Committee from April the 10th, 2018, and one from Ms. Hammock on the Budget Finance Administration Committee, which was on May the 8th. We also have 3 things in the executive session, and that's all with economic development. And these are Project Golden, Project K, Project Marble, and that concludes my first administrative report for you tonight.
Thank you very much. We just need to make one little correction. Under council committee reports, law enforcement, public safety, their meeting wasn't the April 10th meeting, but it's the May 3rd meeting. Mr. McCall should be reporting on tonight. Okay, very good, very
Madam Chair,
good.
can I make a request? Can y'all pull your microphone a little closer in between y'all? Makes it a little better at home.
All right.
You got viewers.
Okay, we'll begin with our presentation to council tonight. Mr. Rex Blanton, Chairman of the Agricultural Advisory Board.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm Rex Blanton of Oconee County most of my life, member of the Agricultural Advisory Board. I'd like to say we certainly appreciate your efforts by the Council and the Planning Commission in the writing of Ordinance 2016-17, which established such advisory body. This demonstrates your recognition of the significance of agriculture in our Oconee County. This demonstrates your the significance is for Oconee, and significant it is, for Oconee has approximately 884 farms, large and small, totaling nearly 68,000 acres. The 2012 USDA Census lists Oconee as 11th in all of South Carolina in fruits, nuts, berries, and 10th in the state in total agricultural sales, 8th in cattle, calves, sheep, goats, wool, mohair, and milk, 6th in equine, 3rd in poultry, eggs, and aquaculture, and 2nd in poultry if you read a different survey. As you know, but others may not, the Agricultural Advisory Board was established in 2016. It recruited interested potential members and held its first meeting late that year. It exists to aid and advise the county in agricultural matters, to support and develop the diverse agricultural interests in the county, to foster communication and cooperation among the varied agricultural interests and concerns, and to help ensure that agriculture's vital role in the economy and the character of the county is maintained and developed. With that said, I'd like to introduce to you the first in Oconee County and one of the first agricultural advisory boards in the state in existence, and most of them are here today. I'd like to recognize them if y'all would stand up, please. We have a 7-member board, and 3 are here tonight, and they come from a varied background of agricultural interests and very knowledgeable. Also, Mr. Adam Chapman is our liaison. We're very grateful to him and his help. He keeps us rolling, keeps us smoothly progressing. So thank y'all. Some ideas we've been working on are a compilation of a listing of agricultural interest entities and various groups in the county that we can contact and offer our support, and collection of data for informational pamphlets to distribute to events to promote agriculture in Oconee. We are working to compile materials, survey concerns of the people, and to provide input for the agricultural element of the 2020 Comprehensive Plan. We have all seen how things can grow and change rapidly. We recently experienced this in the Hartwell Village construction. And as an aside, and in my own opinion, we're going to grow. We just need to grow wisely and plan for that development. The Ag Advisory Board is working to create an agricultural directory focused on the beginning farmer so that he or she will know where to go to get startup supplies, who he can call on to learn the rules and regulations pertaining to his particular area of interest, and any and all other information we think will help someone avoid the pitfalls that we've all experienced. We hope to do this electronically via a web link initially so that there is no cost involved. Later, we may be able to present it in a brief portfolio and hand it to people, or a disk or a flash drive. We don't know. We haven't gotten that far along yet. We're working to promote 150 years of agriculture in Oconee as we celebrate our county's 150th anniversary. One item is a proposed market-to-table contest. I will yield the floor to my co-member, Ms. Sewell, to expound on her brainchild, but again, let me thank the council for your time and attention and for your recognition of the significance, the contribution, and the economic, social, and cultural impact that agriculture always has and always will have and continue to support Oconee County. Thank you for your support of agriculture. We appreciate it very much. And Ms. Sewell, would you like to come up and speak?
She's right behind you. Thank you, Mr. Blank.
Hello, I'm Debbie Sewell, and a lot of you know me. I'm a native of Oconee County too. My parents grew up as farmers, so we've been here for a long time. But I had an idea too that, as Rex said, one of our responsibilities as the Ag Advisory Board is to advise council and to also promote agriculture in the county. And my passion is locally grown food, and so I decided that it would be really a good way for us to promote our producers and growers is to have a recipe contest. And so because locally grown food is becoming increasingly important to communities across South Carolina and the United States, it's the availability of local food is not only a positive impact on local growers and producers, it impacts all agribusiness. It influences community revitalization, economic development, availability of safe food, and protection of the environment. To spearhead this movement in Oconee County, we are proposing that we have this recipe contest, and the purpose of it is to both promote our local food markets and our food network, producers and the growers. And it will collect information about the network, encourage local food shoppers and to submit their favorite recipes using local food, and tell where they acquired where they acquired their produce. The value of this information for the Agriculture Advisory Board and for the county includes the identification of existing products and markets, market trends, needs for future markets, products, and organizations, contacts with farmers, markets, and of consumers. And we feel like this is only going to cost us a little bit. It's about a minimum of $1,000. And really, it's just promotional materials. This is, we're talking about printing material like posters, brochures, that kind of thing. Also, what we'd like to do is set up tables at some of the local farmers markets to promote the locally grown food as well as the Agriculture Advisory Board and what we're doing in the county. And so things that will help us with that type of promotion. I think there was a list in your packet there. And the contest itself, if you have any questions about that, it'd be very simple. It would just be a matter of what the preliminary idea is to have 3 preliminary contests, June, July, and August. And it would just be people who buy fruits and vegetables from the market or meats, whatever they do, and then to give us a recipe of how they used it, and also do some photographs. So we'll have some visual things to go along with it for website or whatever other social media, or for displays, whatever need be. And it would be judged mainly a point system would be like most of it would be how they use the particular ingredient, the originality, presentation, and then to include the 150-year birthday, we get extra points if it was a family or heirloom recipe where they use the product. When we gather the three, and there'd be three categories. I forgot about that. The side dishes, desserts, the entree, and forgot what my other category was. And then there'd be a best overall of all of them. So then we take from the three contests, we have a big contest, and that will be the taste contest. We'll take the winners from that. At the fair this year, we'll have a local chef prepare the 4 recipes, and we'll have judges. We haven't decided on who those will be yet, but council might be asked to do that. I don't know. Get to taste the different recipes, and then from that, they would decide on who would be the best overall recipe using the local ingredients. I have kind of floated the idea with the fair board, and they're agreeable to it if it's something that you feel like would be important for us. And they've also actually said that they could help us with some prizes and that kind of thing. Really, that's basically, if you have any questions about it, I can answer it. I didn't want to go into detail because we really haven't hashed it all out yet, but it's basically just as a promotion and also as a fact-finding type vehicle for us to kind of get started. And like Rex said, I just want to thank y'all for being agreeable to start this advisory board. We've had a lot of good ideas. We have a lot of good discussions about things, and have a very diverse group. And we really want to thank y'all, each one of you, for giving us an opportunity to benefit the county in this way. I'll be glad to answer any questions about the contest or anything else if you.
When's the fair this year?
Excuse me?
When's the fair this year?
It's the last weekend in September. I can't tell you exact dates, but just the way the calendar fell, I think. Usually it's either the first weekend in October or last weekend in September, but this year it's the last weekend in September.
September 25th through the 29th.
Right. That sounds right. Anybody else have any questions?
I just want to say, Madam Chair,
Yes.
appreciate what you, Ms. Sewell, and Mr. Blanton, and all the rest of the folks serving on that board. I know you don't get paid anything to do it, but I appreciate very much the time that you invest, and I think I speak for all of us on council when we say agriculture is very important to the heritage of this county and to economic development, and it's a way of life, and it's amazing to know all the things that come out of this county, and really want to just thank you for thinking outside the box with this recipe contest. I think that's an excellent way to get people interested in local agriculture, and all the other things you're doing, the new farmer thing. I think that's something that would be a good partnership potentially with economic development, and thank you all for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Great idea as well. Some of the stuff that you have on here, we have the ability to do in-house. I don't know if I know this is in our backup material on there, brochure holders, stuff like that. I know we have a ton of that stuff around.
I wasn't sure what we had
Yeah,
available.
so
I just kind of was brainstorming that too.
Yeah, but, and I'll be glad to volunteer for taste testing as well for it.
I didn't think that'd be a problem
I know.
with anybody.
So,
Probably have fight for judges for that one, but.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the Sesquicentennial Committee presentation to the contest winners.
But I want them to get all the pictures of the, I want to get a picture of the parents and everybody here. Lights, y'all be mad. Lights, let's see. On January 29th of this year, we announced our Centennial celebration year, which kicked off a year-long of 150.
Microphone.
Just pull it loose.
One of the ideas our committee tossed around was art and essay contest, and that was one of our most favorite things so far. The elementary arts submissions are here, the first 4. There's a grand prize, first prize, second prize, and third prize. The rest of the artwork is exhibited out in the hallway. When you exit here, you'll be able to see everything that was submitted. The essays are here behind us. They're not as visual, but I do have copies of those for parents or school instructors, assistants, principals, or friends that are interested in those. One of the most interesting things that I came across when reading the essays, and we got 36 submissions, was there was common themes, and these came from all areas of the county, from all walks of life. One was, our kids are really proud of Oconee County. Our kids feel safe here. The word safe came up 90%. These essays were turned in shortly after the school shootings in Florida, and that should tell you guys something. Our kids feel safe. That's an excellent feeling for us as parents. I'm a parent too. Another sense was family, community, and small business opportunities, which I thought was really interesting. 5 of the 30 that came from a certain area in Oconee County, each child represented a small business or worked in a family business. Other people said there were opportunities to volunteer, which I thought was really interesting too, because most kids in high school aren't thinking about others yet, but we're doing something right if we're raising kids that are wanting to make things better and volunteer to do things. So our top essay contest winner is Michigan.
Okay, our grand prize winner is Lily Galloway.
Oh, this is art. Miss Galloway is not here. She's on a field trip in Washington, D.C.
Still give her a
Miss
flag.
Galloway's art piece is up here. Continue with art. Since we started with art, we'll finish with art. Our first place prize winner is Miss Jenna Morris. Jenna, if you would like to come on up with your family. Grandparents can get in pictures too. Sure? Okay. Before your art contest kids live there, I do want to get a group photo with you with our Centennial group and the council as well, please. Our second place prize winner is Mr. Jackson Smith. Congratulations, Jackson. Hi. Thank you so much. And our third place prize winner is Harold Spurlock. I think people call him Junior though, right, Junior? You're all welcome to get in the photo. I'll email them back to you if you want. Wait. All right, almost over. You want to do that? I got it. Now, if we could get the winners back up here, the 4 winners, there'll be 3 actually present here. We'll just want a group photo with you guys. Want to get in? You guys stand up so we
You
can
want
get
us
y'all
just
in
to
the
come
frame.
down?
You're welcome to come down here,
Yeah, let's go.
absolutely. So, thank you. I'm pretty sure all of the students are here for the essay contest. Our grand prize winner is Treasure Loan. Congratulations, Treasure. We all loved your name, too. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Come on up. Congratulations, Treasure. Our first place prize winner is Catherine Rochester. Congratulations, Catherine. Photo? Okay. Our second place prize winner is Ethan Barton. Hi, Ethan. Glad you could make it. Congratulations. And our third place prize winner is Kat Clever. Congratulations, Kat. Now, if we could, please get all of our essay winners back up here with our council members for a group photo. No pressure, you guys, but you're our future, okay? We're depending on you. Also, I see a lot of school staff here. Thank you all. I know you didn't get to come out and get your pictures made. The support you're giving our kids is incredible. Thank you.
Kami, can we take about a 5-minute recess or 22 seconds?
Sure.
Does that work? Just to let them clear out.
Sure.
About 5 minutes. That's per request. I was supposed to let you know earlier.
No, that's right. That's okay, it's not a problem.
We'll give you 29. Hey, Junior, you can come sit in my seat and finish the rest of the year out if you want to. That wasn't a motion, but I should have made it. I don't know if I needed to make that. I don't guess it mattered, did it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You still good? Okay. It's on you. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. Okay, moving right along, we have Proclamation 2018-03 for National Safe Boating Week. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas, on average, 650 people die each year in boating-related accidents in the United States. Approximately 80% of these are fatalities caused by drowning. And whereas the vast majority of these accidents are caused by human error or poor judgment and not by the boat, equipment, or environmental factors. And whereas a significant number of boaters who lose their lives by drowning each year would be alive today had they worn their life jackets. And whereas today's life jackets are more comfortable, more attractive, and more wearable than styles of years past. Therefore, we, the Oconee County Council, do hereby support the goals of the Safe Boating Campaign and proclaim May 19th through 25th, 2018, as National Safe Boating Week and the start of the year-round effort to promote safe boating. Approved and adopted this 15th day of May 2018 by the Oconee County, South Carolina.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
I would like to say thank you to our firefighters and the boat. I think there's not a better time for National Safe Boating Week than what happened this weekend. And I just wanted to give props to that on the fireboat and all the hard work that they did out there and do throughout the year, and especially from the sheriff's side of things with the new boats that we have. Those guys out there, they make a difference, and the extra boats that this council and some councils before us had approved, it truly makes a difference on our lakes and doing a phenomenal job. And I just wanted to say thank you to all those that are out there doing that.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a public hearing today for ordinance 2018-12. That's the ordinance to develop a jointly owned and operated multi-county industrial and business park with Pickens County. No one has signed up for the public hearing. If anyone would like to comment now, you may. Any written comments can be submitted to our clerk. Otherwise, I will close the public hearing and we'll move on to the third reading of ordinance 2018-12.
Motion that it be approved on third reading, ordinance 2018-12.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have first reading in title only of ordinance 2018-01, an ordinance to establish the budget for Oconee County and to provide for the levy of taxes for ordinary county purposes for the Tri-County Technical College Special Revenue Fund, for the Emergency Services Protection Special Revenue Fund, for the Road Maintenance Special Revenue Fund, for the Victim Services Special Revenue Fund, for the Bridge and Culvert Capital Project Fund, all in Oconee County for the fiscal year beginning July 1st of 2018 and ending June 30th, 2019.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is this, I know we're in title only here, are we discussing is this regarding the budget that was proposed in the Budget and Administration Committee meeting last Tuesday, where you had proposed that 2 mil increase, or is this without a millage increase?
Madam Chair, if I may, just to get our timeline straight, what came out of the Budget Committee was a motion to have full council take on first reading. This is in title only, but you need to obviously know what the backbones are behind the title only. The administrator's recommended budget, balanced budget for 18-19, as well as, it didn't include the full two, but y'all voted to put forward the funding for the SROs for the sheriff, which is $335,000, as well as the coroner's position, which was $43,000. So that moved the general fund total from, as recommended in the administrator's recommended budget, $45,921,784 up to $46,299,784, which represents, Mrs. Price, tell me if I'm wrong, a 0.703 mil increase. So that is what's behind the title only, so you'll have a fair idea of what's being voted on now.
Do
And
we-
Mr. Kane, I'm sorry, just to fill out, y'all had said you wanted to think about the rest of the 2 mil proposal.
Yeah, and
some
we
more.
had scheduled the additional budget committee meeting for Tuesday of
22nd?
next week.
Okay. So we'll need to amend this budget one way or another prior to second reading.
Well, what's in front of you is what I just stated. It's in title only, but any alterations, if you want to go with the 2 mils, if you want to pull back on the SROs, whatever you want to do, will have to be by an amendment. Yes, sir.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. We will be continuing the budget discussions, not only on May 22nd, but we also have another budget committee meeting scheduled the following week on May 28th?
29th.
So
29th.
So with this title only, are we stating that we are adding to there already the SROs at 335, the coroner at 43, which is a millage increase of what?
0.703, and I failed to add that the coroner increase, as y'all noted it out of the budget and finance committee, it's kind of with an asterisk. If the state gets its budget in line and has the supplemental funding for the coroner, I think that was a $35,000 amount, that would reduce the coroner's funding to $8,000. I'll say that the state, I think it's unlikely that the state will have its budget passed prior to you all having your budget passed, but I can't say one way or another for certain. The fiscal year is the same, deadline's essentially the same, but they're hashing a lot of things out. So we'll see.
So if we amended the title only to state what we had, I guess what was proposed, what you had talked about, the 2 mil, is that what you're stating can be done?
Well, it's title only.
Or we're just reading title only to get the first reading out,
Yeah.
I mean.
What we have, the Supreme Court affirmed procedure for doing title only is that council who's voting have a general knowledge of what is being voted upon. General knowledge, I've gotten pretty specific with what's being voted on, and y'all have, of course, a recommended budget, which is very, very specific, and I think the administrator produced that on April 17th. But if you want to make it clear going forward what you want to see or discuss during the budget committee meeting or have for second reading, an amendment can be made to include within the budget ordinance the full 2 mil increase, which covered, I know,
The additional fire truck, the High Falls ADA upgrades, the 6
and the
sheriff
Westminster
SROs,
Magistrate's Office, I think.
and the magistrate.
So that motion could be made now, Mr. Davis, and so that would be what's forwarded on, so it'll be the budget that's in front of the budget committee meeting on the 22nd, and see how y'all move with that, and then what then appears before full council on the 5th of June, barring any special meeting.
In the last budget committee meeting, we seemed to be committed to the SROs and the coroner. I suggest any changes be left after we have another opportunity to revisit next week at the budget committee meeting then.
So as of right now, we're removing the fire truck, the High Falls ADA upgrade, and the magistrate in this current budget.
We're not removing, they haven't been added on yet. We've made the commitment to Sheriff Crenshaw for the SROs. We've made the commitment to fund the coroner, but we haven't removed anything. They're still subject to further discussions next week.
I mean, if we're committed to it, then why don't we, I mean, that's what we meet for, is to make these motions.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have a meeting next
Next week.
week to discuss this, to further, this is only first reading. I think at that time, we'll decide which way we want to go by then. And we don't have to make that decision tonight.
It would be nice to have the document prepared if that's what this council's wanting to do. That's,
What's wrong with next week?
Well, just a minute, Mr. Davis, it was your request to have another budget committee next week, which is why we deferred the discussion. We had enough to digest for the moment, and that's why we deferred the balance of this discussion to next week. So let's just discuss again. Let's revisit this next week.
Does this, so this does not include any fire truck purchases? This current budget? I just want to clarify, because I had a phone call earlier today, and someone was under the impression that it included 2 fire trucks. And I want to make sure, because that was their understanding. So,
One moment, Madam Chair, if you could.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Price is looking at that. I believe within the the administrator's recommended budget, there is 1 fire truck, but I'm not sure about that. There's 1. Ready?
there's one. And on this sheet, it would add a second fire truck?
Right.
Okay.
Referring to well, I'll call it the 2 mil sheet that was produced for discussion during the Budget and Finance Committee. There was an additional fire truck that is on there that is not included within what you all are contemplating in title only.
that's really what I want stated. The title only that we're reading does not include a fire truck, does not include High Falls ADA upgrade, and does not include the magistrate.
That is correct.
No, but I want to make clear that that is subject to change once we discuss further next week. Yes?
I mean, we're here.
We'll be here
You're
next
reading.
And we'll be here next
But
week
you're
at
reading
your
the title
request.
only without those, and the title only is without those. And
That's
if you
right.
approve that budget without those,
It
it's
doesn't
not
mean
in
we
it.
can't change it.
I agree.
Okay,
But I
so,
just, you need
Can we
to,
wait till next week? We're gonna call for a vote.
well, are we done discussing? I'm getting a feeling that we're not done discussing this.
Madam Chair, if I may, Mr. Davis, if you want to, you can make that motion to include what's on the sheet for the full 2 mil increase and have that discussed or not. But just so we're clear, I want to make it clear for the record what is now before you all is title only. Law dictates that you have a general understanding what that title only is. It's the general fund as recommended by the administrator, plus the SROs and the coroner additional position. It does not include the other items on the 2 mill sheet that was discussed during the Budget and Finance Committee. But you're welcome, you're free to make that motion if you'd like.
Sounds to me they we'll go toward next week. Stay tuned.
Okay. Mr. Kane, any other comments?
No, I just like Mr. Root said, I wanted to make sure I knew what I was voting on. Thank you.
Now, just to be certain, I feel the extra fire truck, the ADA upgrades, and the magistrate are important things that we need to seriously consider on next Tuesday and include them in the budget. That is my personal feeling. I will let you decide in a week's time what your personal feelings are on that topic. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor of 2018-01 in title only?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 2018-02, an ordinance to establish the budget for the school district of Oconee County and to provide for the levy of taxes for the operations of the school district of Oconee County for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018 and ending June 30th, 2019.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
just one question.
yes.
Where's all the money they saved for closing Mossy Salem? That's all.
That's a good question. Mr. Hanvey, are you still here? No, he's not.
He was out there talking to the students and stuff.
Okay. All in favor of 2018-02?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 2018-03, the ordinance to provide for the levy of taxes for the KOE Fire Special Tax District.
Make a motion.
Thank you.
Okay, any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion regarding action items, approval for the execution of work authorization number 1 for runway end 7 fee simple acquisition project in the amount of $43,800 as presented by W.K. Dixon & Co.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
how big a piece of property is this we buy?
I don't recall what the size of it.
Rick's looking for something.
I think it's interfering with the glide slope.
If I'm not mistaken, it's a little over an acre and a half. I'll have to check that to make sure.
Any other questions? Any other comments on this? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? PRT Commission, state and local ATAX recommendations. We have two, $56,000 from local ATAX funds for South Carolina Sport Alliance, short-term rental compliance, museum docent program, and safety signage for the Palmetto Trail, and $156,500 from state ATAX funds for Visit Oconee, South Carolina funding.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
I have a question.
Yes.
Madam Chair. I was talking, maybe I need to ask Charlie King, is it somebody misinforming me from the fire? We can use ATAX money for some things on fire protection? Yes, no?
No,
I'm fishing for you some help here.
thank you. Obviously, we'll take all the help we can get. it's my understanding that the ATAX threshold has to reach a certain level before it can be spent on local government operations. And I think Phil, being one of the administrators, that's a better answer than I am.
I mean, we could use it for printing up fire brochures and safety stuff like that.
No, sir. Until we reach $900,000 in accommodation tax receipts, we cannot do that.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
since we got Mr. Shirley there, would you mind explaining some of these, what all these funds are for?
Sure.
How they coming about?
Yes, sir. The South Carolina Sports Alliance is our state organization that we use to recruit sporting events. We have up to $5,000 recommended from the PRT Commission. This year, we only spent about $1,800 of that. Just depends on which shows we go to and what kind of things we recruit. The second thing on your list, apologize, in front of me. Second thing on your list is a short-term rental compliance program. As you're well aware, our natural resources provide for a number of short-term rentals around the lakes, around the rivers, around the mountains. We spend a lot of staff time trying to identify what those short-term rentals are to make sure they're compliant with our ordinance to pay the local accommodations tax. The efforts of Ms. Letitia and Ms. Mandy in the finance in my office, they've spent hours and hours. So as we began looking at what other communities were doing, we found out that there's some software out there. And this software basically takes our GIS data and it puts it into a software system, and it's web-based platform to where every night it scans our GIS data and it identifies for us anybody who's marketing their house or their short-term rental to the public through whether it's VRBO, Airbnb, a number of those websites that we just don't have the staff to go out there and monitor all the time. By being a part of this system, we then get those folks who are renting their properties back to us, and then we can begin the process of sending the form letters of thank you for being a lodging partner, and here's how do you comply with our ordinance. So that's the short-term rental compliance piece.
Does that mean they're adding a tax to ever who's renting this?
It's whoever is renting the property. It's not on the property itself. It's if I went and stayed in a lake house, then I'm responsible to pay that to the owner, who's responsible to get it to the county.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Bill, how are you controlling realtors that people don't go through that, they just list direct with a realtor?
It's a property manager. We treat them as a property manager, and then when they turn their money into us, they turn in a list of those houses so that we see the breakdown.
They're being forthcoming when they do this.
I will tell you that right now we have 112 different properties that are paying into this system, and the takeoff that this software company did for us said that there's over 300 out there that we're missing. So we feel like we're missing a good chunk of change that we could use for additional projects in our parks and around our county. So yeah, we treat them as property managers, and they have to turn in their inventory of what they're representing whenever they turn their check in.
I agree with your software people.
The next one on there is safety signage. As we continue to go through the building of the Palmetto Trail and get the phases open, this is for some of the signage of how you travel, which direction you go, and some of the rules that are at the trailheads. So this is an assistance for the Palmetto Trail. The Visit Oconee funding, that's salary money that goes over to Visit Oconee. It is paid back to the county for their salaries. The salary in the package for those employees in that department. So that goes over to them and then it comes back.
Madam Chair, I would like to thank y'all y'all are doing a great job from the tourism standpoint, and I know Ken Sloan talks about how many visitors are coming in here, and I've had the opportunity to meet several of those and see a lot of the writings that they do across this country, and all the several golf magazines and everything like that they continue to do. And I just, tourism is a great industry for Oconee County, and the little bit that we pay out there, returns very, very well to us. And I just want to thank y'all for you and your staff for what you do on there. The short-term rental compliance, I had spoke with that. That's a great way to start getting some ATAX money back in here that and also make sure that the taxation's right on it as well. So I think that's well worth it for twofold, from the ATAX standpoint and from the proper taxation of that if it's a primary or secondary home. So thank you for that.
That committee was Ms. Price, myself, Letitia, and Mandy. So we
Thank
interviewed
y'all.
4 different firms before we brought that to you.
Mr. Shirley, one more question just occurred to me. With this software, we could also identify people that have got secondary homes. If you're renting it out, it's not your primary residence, is it?
You can rent it out so many days and it still be your primary residence. I don't know exactly how many days that is. Would have to confirm that.
This software could be a windfall of money coming into the county, because if it's not your primary residence, you pay more taxes.
Yes, it's a different tax break. It's 4% versus 6%. So
Yes.
if you know what that is, you
6% would be more money going to the school district, which would offset our cost of the SRO officers if we had more money coming in that way. So this is all good.
thank you.
Mr. McCall, can you get clarification on what that time frame is? Is it 90 days, a year? It doesn't have to be today, but just what that rental time frame is?
In terms of 4% versus 6%?
No, in terms of renting my house out as a vacation home, I can rent it so many
Okay,
nights
yeah,
a
we
week.
can do that.
Yeah. I would have directed you, but I have to direct my administrator, make sure I'm doing it right, so.
We called him Mr. McCall.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, sorry. Well,
Boss is his driver.
so, well, I guess per what Mr. McCall was saying was what I was trying to do, so we know what the clarification is on that, so I guess as y'all move forward, so I'm sorry.
If I could just say one other thing as well. Two events in the past week. I know Ms. Kamick and I enjoyed going to the ribbon cutting, and Ms. Hartman was there also representing the Economic Alliance. Really excited about that project coming to Oconee County. I think that's going to bring a lot of money into Oconee County and into Walhalla, which is great. Great work that your organization's done, that the Economic Alliance has done, Destination Oconee, and everybody else that's been involved. So it's great to see that ribbon cut and see mountain bikers riding around up there. Also today, Mr. Davis and I had the opportunity to go out to Cross Creek, and we hosted this state golf tournament there.
State championship
State
for
championship
South Carolina High School League.
for 3A. Yeah, so that was really cool to see all those folks. They said that was the toughest course they'd played, and said that the PGA should be playing out there. So that's the next task. We just need to get a PGA event in here.
Get your pocketbook ready.
Yeah. But seriously, thank you very much for the work y'all do
Thank
and attracting those things here.
Okay, so we need to approve these ATAX funds.
Make a
We have
motion to
a-
approve.
We got a
Okay,
motion.
we already
got
have the
a
motion,
so-
that I wasn't sure. We have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Wayfinding signage, Oconee Economic Alliance. As part of Oconee Economic Alliance's Destination Oconee Initiative approved by council in 2015, the wayfinding signage plan was developed. Let's see, what are we doing here? We're going to approve the award of ITB 17-10 wayfinding signage to
Waybate.
Waybate Holdings, DBA Signs, et cetera, of Charlotte, North Carolina, in the amount of $98,128.72, with a 10% contingency of $9,812.88, for a total award of $107,941.60, and authorize the county administrator to approve any change orders within the contingency amount.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do we have the ability to pull the signs up for, do you have anything on that backup material? No.
And there's supposed to be 144 signs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can we see them?
They're in the backup, but And I was pleased to hear that the old signs are being recycled and reused, so, yep.
Thank you.
I didn't know if anybody, I've seen them. I didn't know if
I've
anybody,
seen those.
anybody out there wanted to see them.
Yeah, I've seen these. Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any unfinished business? Any new business? I have some new business. I just wanted to give you a handout I received from our HR department. It's a recruiting timeframe that has been used in the past by Appalachian Council of Governments, but I want you to take a look at it because I think it's a good timeframe for us to consider as we move ahead looking for a permanent administrator. And so, you want a copy? A couple of copies over there. You can read it at your leisure, and we can discuss at another point, but I think it might be good to consider following this. I think it's a good suggestion by our HR department. The other thing I wanted to share with you ahead of Tuesday's Budget Committee meeting was a request from our LEPC, Local Emergency Planning Committee, for some help.
I assume in the terms of money?
In terms of a person that requires a salary. So again, I just wanted to give this to you ahead of next week's meeting so you can mull it over and see if we can discuss it just on Tuesday and see where that goes. Anybody else have new business to share?
Well, I was going to bring something up. I don't know if now is the proper time, if we should do it in a budget, finance, and administration meeting, but we have the 2020 census coming up, and I think it's appropriate that we explore the potential for a 7-member council and putting the giving the public the opportunity to vote by referendum of looking at a 7-member council. We'll have to do redistricting after the 2020 census anyway. I don't know how long in advance we have to put that on the ballot, but I know anytime you're doing that, it takes probably a year plus of planning. So I would like to ask that council consider at least putting it up to the public. I've had a number of people say, y'all need to go to a 7-member council. And I think it's worth presenting to the public by referendum that option.
I agree.
So,
Is that a motion?
I would make a motion that Mr. Martin consult with our attorney regarding the timeline and legal requirements to place that on referendum.
Second.
Any further discussion? Is there like a how-to book on doing this?
There's a very, very, very distinct, very good statute on how to do it. It will not take a whole lot of time to give you a good outline and memo about it. So I'll
Okay.
work that up and work with Mr. Martin, and we'll get a memo to you in short order. Got a lot of things going on, but in relatively short order, we'll get a memo on the how-tos and the timelines and the procedures we need to follow.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Council committee reports. Mr. McCall.
Yes, ma'am. For once, we had the meeting, we got everything done. Update Law Enforcement Center received a quote for $185,000 for the rebuild. The insurance company is not wanting to cooperate. So that's an ongoing, I guess, from Mr. Martin and the attorney, county attorney, as to how much we're going to get for the rebuild. I understand we had it insured for 100% replacement, and they don't want to pay. So that's between our attorneys and theirs. We received bids. The lowest bid was $500,000 to rebuild the inside. Is that right, Sheriff? Inside the building. Met with architectural and architect and give him some information. Ran through some analysis regarding what adjustments or claims they can reimburse and what the bid came in for. Council, the committee took no action on this matter. Update on the medical services plan. 52% of the overall 7,000 calls are medical emergencies. We talked about the volunteers. Over the past year, 45 of the volunteers have completed EMT training, which was excellent. We talked about call volume. Continue to meet with EMS since October 2017, assigned staff member from EMS, and GS Greenville Hospital System has assigned a staff member to continue work on a plan to wait for approved. Chief King indicated, and I pointedly asked him, he's having, not on his part, but on Greenville Hospital's part, little success in communications. So I want to commend Chief King for continuing in spite of no communications. He's doing a good job. Committee took no action on this matter. The next was discussion regarding lithium battery safety. The sheriff gave a real good report. The gist of it was we don't know whether a fire started out being electrical, several power surges before the fire. Experts wanted to give Motorola and Xerox an opportunity to present their part. They declined. Committee took no action on this matter. Discussion regarding dumping limbs, brush into the county landfill. Cities have stopped bringing brush to the landfill unless there's something they cannot grind. And Mr. Swain still said that if we get logs in there, they're hauling the logs to a sawmill or somebody that can use them. So we're not burying them. Utilizing the grinding area, and the logs are too big to grind. Like I said, we're sending those out. Committee took no action on this matter. Discussing regarding the amended litter control ordinance. The sheriff has looked over the document and is pleased with it. In addition to section 5, paragraph 3, relating to the application of the ordinance to tenants leaving waste at rented properties at the end of their term. It would also include people who trash storage units and other things are out for rent. In addition, under penalties and fines, the sheriff gets all 100% of the fines go to the sheriff's department. So the tenant, the landlord is not getting a cent out of this. You trash, it's the same as throwing litter on the road. You know, if it's in front of your house, you don't get the money, the sheriff gets the money. And this is gonna help the sheriff with desperately funding for his litter and also to offset costs of future officers. Mr. Hart made a motion, seconded by me, to refer the litter control officer to full council for approval. So I'm asking the council now, I'm going to hear a motion. Do we send this ordinance for, was it first reading approval? Or just have it written up for approval? How does that go?
Madam Chair and Mr. McCall, this one, the litter control ordinance as well as the solid waste ordinance are drafted. I just need to put the ordinance body to it, essentially, that introduces the ordinance. So those will be on for the June 5th if you.
All right, so we don't need a motion or vote?
No, sir.
Good,
So the motion's
good.
been made.
Very good. Discussion amended solid waste ordinance transport. We talked about the ordinance, and the committee went through all these. We got about the transport police, who has the right to inspect trucks. So we removed the inspection provision. Mr. Hart made a motion, I second, to refer to solid waste full council, which we are. Discussion amending chapter 4 to ordinance, Oconee County Code of Ordinance in relation to landowner responsibility for restraining animals. And Lieutenant Lyle, brought this matter up. General issue concerning citizens they come in, they rent, and the dogs are running around, and some of the dogs are kind of vicious by nature. And we want to have a way of control it, because a lot of times the sheriff gets the report, they get out there, and people doesn't haul freight. So we got nothing, except somebody gets bit. Then these people are already gone, and so we're going to put it back on the landowner, because he's inviting these people in. Mr. Hart made the motion, seconded by me, for the amendment of chapter 4 of the Oconee County Code of Ordinances in relation to landowner responsibility for restraining animals to the full council for approval. Next, a law enforcement public safety meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 10th, to immediately proceed to follow the Transportation Committee meeting at 5:30. And that was my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Well, next is my report on the last Budget, Finance, and Administration Committee meeting. We met on May 8th to further discuss the 2018-2019 budget. Dr. Booth presented the Tri-County Tech budget. There will be an increase in operations to account for the opening of the new Oconee campus. The increase will be, it's small enough so we can absorb it by our current Tri-County Tech millage. We heard a request from a coroner, Mr. Addis, for assistance. We've responded positively to that request. We heard from Sheriff Crenshaw regarding the SROs, and we responded positively to that request as well. New projects that can be included with available funds are the pay increases, using anniversary date as the rollout date, sheriff positions, fire personnel, and one of the SROs, one of the 7 SROs. Recommended expenditures that require further funding include the additional fire truck, the High Falls ADA upgrades, the 6 SROs, and the Westminster Magistrate. And as you've heard just recently, we will take that up for discussion at our next Budget Committee meeting. Council did vote to express our commitment to fund the SROs so that Sheriff Crenshaw can start the hiring and training process. Our next budget meeting is next week, Tuesday, May 22nd. Now's the time to chime in as to whether you support some of these additions to our budget or not. We would love to hear from you. Finally, today we have an executive session for the purpose of discussing 3 economic development projects, Project Golden, Project K, and Project Marble. Do I hear a motion to recess to executive session?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reconvene.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No action was taken in executive session. No actions are necessary.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.